We good? All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I am Dylan White, and I was the managing editor for MBU Timeline from January of 2020 till the end of April of 2021. And today I'm going to be talking about a social media campaign that I conducted over the course of a year with MBU Timeline social media. We're going to be talking about turning quality content into quantifiable traffic. Now, we undoubtedly live in a digital age, and this is becoming more and more apparent every day. The overwhelming majority of Americans use social media sites, with 81% of U.S. adults saying that they use YouTube, 69% saying that they use Facebook, and depending on the age demographic, different age groups gravitate toward different platforms. Those who are under 30 gravitate toward Instagram. Those who are 30 to 64 gravitate towards Facebook. 53% of all adults say that they often or sometimes get their news through social media. And all of these numbers come from Pew Research that was conducted in 2019 and 2020. But the reason why I bring all this up is because it's become obvious that in today's world, social media is king. And in order to get people's attention, you have to reach them through social media. Because this transcends just the world of journalism, it transcends just the world of communications. It can go to business, it can go to scientific research, a whole gamut of fields and disciplines. That in order to reach people, you have to go where they are. In order to get exposure for your product, you have to go where they are. And in today's world, everyone is becoming more increasingly connected through social media. And it doesn't matter how high the quality of your content or your product, if it's not reaching people, it's not going to have the desired effect you want. So if there's one thing to take away from anything that I say in this entire presentation, it's this: that distributing your content via social media strategically, and there is a reason that's italicized because that's important, and we'll get to that in a minute, strategically, and making your audience care about it will increase your website traffic or your traffic to anything that you're trying to direct people towards dramatically. So let's talk a little bit about the strategy that I implemented for MBU Timeline and this social media campaign. And it was a bit of a three-pronged approach. For one, I made the content more readily accessible by putting direct links to our content on our social media posts. It's already easy enough to put direct links in Facebook posts and tweets, but the real challenge was Instagram, and we really wanted to hone in on Instagram since that is where the majority of our key audience lives, which is college-age adults. It's very popular, as I mentioned earlier, among the under 30 crowd, Instagram is. So we wanted to make it more accessible on Instagram, and one of the first things that I did was put a link directly in our Instagram bio to direct people to the content. Before then, we had only had a general link that went to the landing page of MBU Timeline, and people had to go to that link and then search on our website for the content that we were posting on our social media. So what I did, as I said, is I put a link directly in our bio that through an app would take people to a grid, a gallery, if you will, of all the pictures of all the art that would then link people directly to that story on MBU Timeline's website. The second prong is a bit of a two-parter. We revived old content and we made content relevant to current events. There was a whole back catalog of stories on MBU Timeline that were 1, 2, and 3 years old that had never been posted on social media. The only exposure that it ever got on social media was from the writers itself. We had never used our might and our muscle to put that content out on the web and get eyes on it. So we did that. We revived that content and made it relevant to what was going on today and the current events. It was our second most read post of 2020 was a set of Easter blogs that was published in, I believe, 2018 and 2019. It was over a year old, this content. But what I did is through social media on a Holy Week leading up to Easter Sunday, I repurposed and republished that content on our social media to get eyes on it. And like I said, it became our second most read post of 2020. And we did this with a variety of different stories whenever there were things going on in sports or just holidays or whatever it is throughout the calendar year, revitalizing some of those stories, whether it be Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, or Easter, as I mentioned, we would put those back up on social media to make those relevant again. And also what we did is we consistently posted. We didn't haphazardly post on just off days, on weekends, or at 3 a.m. or something like that. It was consistent posting multiple times per week, a kind of a regular schedule whenever people could expect to see our content, and during peak hours of the day, which would normally be late morning, just before lunch, and early evening, because typically people will check their phones on their lunch break and after dinner in the early evening. So that was the strategy. So with all of that said, what have been the results of this campaign? Well, what we're doing is we're measuring exactly 1 year, from May 1st of 2020 to May 1st of 2021, and doing 1 year back. So it all hinges on May 1st, April 30th of 2019 to April 30th of 2020, and we're comparing those two sets of results. Well, first of all, we've had a 56.1% increase in page views alone. That's over 1,300 page views of an increase in page views, rather. Now, page views are defined as the number of times that a page is viewed, and this includes refreshes and reloads. So somebody can sit there and click 4 or 5 times on refresh, and that'll count as an additional page view. So a metric that I like to use that I think is a little more accurate is unique page views. And we had a 58.6% increase in unique page views, over 11,000 more unique page views. Now, a unique page view is directly tied to a user and a session. A session is basically defined as the amount of time from whenever somebody enters MBU timeline to whenever they exit, and all of the activity in between. And a unique page view is the number of sessions that page is viewed at least once. So in essence, it cuts out the refreshes, it cuts out revisiting that page. It is the number of times that somebody is looking at that page, essentially, within their site visit. And this is a graphic demonstrating all of that. The blue is the May 1st of 2020 to the May 1st of 2021, and the orange is April 30th of 2019 to April 30th of 2020. And this is a little harder to see just because of the fact that it stretches across this entire span, but you can especially see it here starting in March of 2020. It really separates itself from the previous year, but even so, all the way back in July of 2020, look at how much higher that is, all the way back there from the previous year before. There's also some other interesting analytics and statistics that have come out of this as well, that we've had a 17% increase in the time on the pages on MBU timeline, which I think only equates to about 18 seconds, which might not sound like a lot, but as an average across all of our users, across all of our sessions, across the entire website, 18 seconds more, almost 1/5 more, is significant to note, that people are spending more time looking at our content. We also had a 20% lower exit rate. And in essence, what this means is that people are viewing more pages before they leave MBU timeline. If you have a high exit rate, that means that people are typically only looking at, say, one page on the website and then they're leaving. That is going to drive up your exit percentage. If people are looking at more content, it's going to drive it down. It's a little more complex than that, but that is, in essence, for our purposes and our time here, what that means. So, with all that said, it stands to reason, okay, how much of this actually came from social media? Is it actually attributable to social media? And the answer is yes. We had a 201% increase in the number of sessions from Facebook alone. Remember, sessions basically is a site visit for our purposes here. So that's over 1,100 more sessions from Facebook alone over the course of the past year as compared to before. We had a 555% increase in sessions from Instagram. In the year before this campaign, we only had 83 sessions or site visits coming from our Instagram, from us posting any kind of content or people pushing on our link in our Instagram bio. Now we had over 500, almost 550 sessions on Instagram of people going to MBU Timeline to view our content. And we also had a 153% increase on Twitter with over 200 more sessions than the year before. And this is a graphic demonstrating all of that. And it also has the page views. As I said before, this is not unique page views, but this is page views, and it is interesting. We had almost 1,200 more page views from Facebook, 145% increase. On Instagram, we had a 267, almost 268% increase with over 500 more page views there. And on Twitter, we had a 202% increase with over 600, almost 600 more page views from Twitter. Site-wide, sessions site-wide increased 87%. We had an 87% increase in site visits. We went from 13,333 to 24,965 sessions over the course of the past year. And the number of sessions that we've had via social media referral are up 247%, over 1,900, almost 1,900 sessions via social media referral. So, as I said, the purpose of all of this was to really hone down on our target demographic, which is college-age adults. We're a college publication, so that is who we want to reach with our content. And so in that age demographic, we had a 67% increase in sessions from those age 18 to 24, an increase of almost 600 site visits over the course of the past year. And as you can see there, we also had a big increase among those who were 25 to 34, an increase of over 30% of sessions. Also, mobile content is becoming more and more important as well in our world, and making a site more accessible to those who are on mobile devices, which I think goes hand in hand with our social media campaign and reaching people on social media, because you often look at social media on your phone. So it stands to reason then that we had a almost 120% increase in mobile sessions on our website. That was over 7,200 more sessions on mobile devices to MBU Timeline. But also, interestingly enough, we had a 60% increase, almost 61% increase in desktop traffic with almost 4,300 more sessions. So I've thrown a lot of numbers, I've said a lot of things. So what ultimately does all of this mean? What this means is, like I said before, the one thing to take away from this is that by strategically marketing MBU Timeline's content on our social media, using our might, our muscle on social media to market our content, we've been able to lay the groundwork on which to build on something. But what we've seen is we've made our audience care about what we're putting out, and we've seen dramatic increases in our performance as a website and for our writers. We've been able to lay the foundation and the groundwork to improve, continue to improve our demographics among college students, our performance among college students, make our site more accessible on mobile devices, optimize our website for that, and just increase our traffic overall. Like I said, we had a 247% increase in website visits just from social media alone, and we had a 58% increase in unique page views. All of this is to say that this isn't self-serving. This isn't for myself. This isn't for my own glory. MBU Timeline has a special place in journalism here in St. Louis and at the collegiate level. I think that we bring light to people. We show the good. We don't shy away from what's bad. We have plenty of stories and plenty of columns and opinion pieces and blogs about real-world issues that are going on. But we also show a redemptive quality, and I think that's something really unique in all of this. Our work has not suffered. We've not changed anything in terms of how we post or what we're posting or what we're writing about. This is purely social media strategy. This is purely social media marketing. So as I said at the beginning, by strategically implementing the strategy of putting direct links in our posts and in our Instagram bio and in all of those things, by posting at peak times and by reviving our old content, that is the strategy we've been able to make our audience care, and our website performance has increased dramatically. So thank you for watching, and I'm Dylan White.